Your brand logo, your brand colors, your brand voice, and your brand messaging should all stay the same as we are implementing the VIP method, as we are delivering value, as we are developing intimacy and being pervasive. Hi there, Kelsey Toner here, the founder of Guest Focused Tour Business Coaching, where every day myself and our team of experienced tour business coaches are helping you build a thriving, profitable tour business. In this training video, we're going to be looking at branding, marketing, and storytelling for tour operators. We're going to dive into the difference between branding and marketing. We're going to talk about how to create brand guidelines and a brand kit. And finally, we're going to introduce you to the StoryBrand framework from Donald Miller, which we feel is the perfect complement to the guest focus formula and our VIP marketing method. Now, if you're anything like me, maybe occasionally confused by these terms branding and marketing, and sometimes conversations about branding seem to subsume all of marketing. So let's take a beat to just start here. Think of branding as the foundation of your tour business's identity, while marketing are essentially the strategies you use to promote that identity to the rest of the world. Branding includes your logo and visual identity. It includes your brand voice and your messaging. It also encompasses your values and mission. And it also is the consistent experience that customers have with your brand, with your business, and your team at every touch point. The importance of branding is to establish who you are as a business, of course, to help differentiate from competitors, but most importantly, it's about having a recognizable and consistent connection with your ideal target guest. And it's that consistency with branding that is the most important. Marketing, on the other hand, is about actively promoting and getting the word out about your business and your brand. Marketing is about capturing the attention of your prospects and ideally attracting those ideal target guests to you, your business, and your offers. Marketing encompasses lots and lots of different strategies, but here think of content marketing, social media posting and engagement, paid digital advertising, email campaigns, PR and media coverage, and SEO and SEM, which stands for search engine optimization, and search engine marketing strategies. So remember, effective marketing needs to align with your brand values and your brand identity. Meaning, let's just think about it from a potential customer's perspective. If the way you are showing up across these different marketing campaigns, the way that they're engaging with your business has different logos and different color schemes, it might be creating confusion, wondering, hey, is this the same business as these different folks? The same way with the tone, the messaging, or the positioning. If we see a wildly different tone or messaging, it can confuse customers. And of course, we want to build that trust and that rapport, and part of that is that consistency across all these different marketing campaigns. For our VIP marketing method to be as effective as possible, that consistency is essential. And as you can probably see, it's important to do this brand work first before we rush into launching marketing campaigns. Your brand logo, your brand colors, your brand voice, and your brand messaging should all stay the same as we are implementing the VIP method, as we are delivering value, as we are developing intimacy and being pervasive across the many places that your ideal target guests are spending their time. Okay, so we've established that branding comes before marketing, but practically what does this mean? Well, ultimately, you'll need to assemble brand guidelines or a brand kit. Now, this is a document. It's a living, breathing document that very likely can evolve through time, but not only is this going to be essential for you and your team to use whenever you're working on your marketing, but also this is what you're going to share with marketing agencies or any externals hires that are helping you with how you're showing up in the world or any marketing campaigns that you're launching. Now, there are many ways that you can build your brand guidelines, but here are 5 core areas to get you started that are essential. First, develop your logo. Start with a professional designer, or you can use a platform like 99 Designs or Canva. Ensure your logo is simple, memorable, and reflective of your brand's personality. Create variations. This is important. One that is in full color, one that is entirely black, and one that is entirely white, and perhaps one that is just an icon that you might need for different use cases. Make sure you've got a PNG file, which allows for a transparent background, and ideally a vector file, which allows you to scale up and down your logo as needed. Secondly, choose your color palette. Select 2 to 3 primary colors and 2 to 3 complementary secondary colors. These are going to be part of your visual identity. You want to make sure that those colors work well together and reflect your brand's personality. You want to document the exact color codes using hex or RGB so we have consistency across our marketing campaigns. 3, select your typography. Choose 1 or 2 fonts for headers and body text. Think here about your website or some of the ways that you might be showing up in your print media. Ensure that they're legible, clear, and that they work well together. Consider licensing requirements if you're using premium fonts, but for most of us, we do not need to pay for additional fonts, and we can use some of the many fonts that are out there. 4, define your brand voice. Here we want to describe our brand's personality. Some examples might be friendly, some might be professional, adventurous, perhaps you want to be a little more bold or controversial. Ultimately, what's important here is that you create guidelines for this tone and language use. And I would even encourage you to develop a list of words or phrases to use or potentially avoid when we are copywriting in our marketing campaigns. 5, and finally, craft your key messages. This is where we can write our brand and business tagline. What are the 3 to 5 key messages that encapsulates your brand's value proposition, but more importantly, your offer? Create an elevator pitch, a brief, compelling description of your business, who you serve, and how you do it. As I mentioned at the top, the ultimate goal here is to have your brand guidelines all together in one document, or it could potentially be hosted on a web page. But we want this to be open and easily shareable, not only with your internal team, but with any external folks that are helping you with your marketing. Let's have a look at a quick example. Here at Guest Focus, we use a very simple but open Google Doc where we have our brand guidelines all in one place. You can see here how we start with our brand voice and writing style, where we try to capture our tone, pragmatic, conversational, educational, and our love of using stories. Logos, here we have a quick link to our G Drive folder where essentially you can get those PNG files and vectorized graphics. Here are our fonts that we prefer to use, and here is our color palette. Here's another example from Scott Olford, who is a brand personality and online influencer. But I love the way that he put his brand guidelines on a website. And you can see here are the logos, here are the hex codes and colors that he used with additional logos. But then let's go over to some of the words. I love this, how he emphasizes a tone of voice, even has examples of what we would say and what we wouldn't say. Here are some of the words we use, the words we don't use. And then foundation is where we have some of our brand commitment, our brand values, and some of our messaging. Here is our brand point of view. He feels that internet marketing is broken. Don't do everything yourself, etc. When it comes to working on your color palettes, this is a free tool that I absolutely love. It's called Coolors, COOLORS.co. And it's a great, very simple color palette generator. So even though I don't have a, let's say, background in graphic design, I use this tool to generate some of our brand colors. So with one click, and I think it says here, press the spacebar to generate color palettes. And you'll notice here that these colors are automatically complementary, meaning they will hang together and fit nicely. And so I can go like this. Another way to use this tool, however, is that you already have a color that you use or that you love. So you could type in that color, but we could also lock that color and then hit space. And now it's going to essentially generate palettes, and we can add other colors and then randomly generate until we see something we love. Ooh, I like that blue. I could lock it, and I can continue to have the Coolors tool generate things that are going to work well with this colors. Anyway, just a really great tool if you want to get some additional colors that might fit with your color scheme. Now, I'd like to take a moment to talk a little bit more about your brand messaging. This is an area of your brand guidelines where many tour operators struggle. It can be difficult to succinctly put into words what it is we do in a way that is clear and ultimately compelling to other people. While there are many approaches to branding, one of our favorites is the StoryBrand framework from Donald Miller. Good businesses know that telling a great story can help make their brand more memorable. Stories essentially follow special patterns that make people want to listen. Stories create and then resolve tension. And most importantly, they're extremely effective at holding attention. The StoryBrand framework by Donald Miller simply models iconic stories like the hero's journey to help businesses share their brand message in a way that gets customers interested. In my opinion, the most important insight from the StoryBrand framework is understanding that your company is not the hero of this story. Your customer is the hero. Your brand in your company simply plays the role of a mentor who is there to help your customer achieve their goals or overcome some of the obstacles, the problems, or the challenges in their life. This framework, where your ideal target guest is the hero of the story you're telling, aligns beautifully with our guest focus formula and our VIP marketing method. In this final section of the video, we're going to break down the 7 key elements of the StoryBrand framework. And then we're going to use a multi-day tour operator as an example to showcase how this StoryBrand framework can help you create a brand messaging that truly resonates. So this is the visual overview that Donald Miller shares to help us understand the structure of a story and how we can overlay our brand story on top of it. So firstly, a character has a problem, right? There is tension in every single story. Then they meet a guide or a mentor who gives them a plan of attack. 5, that mentor calls them to action, which results in either success or failure. Now let's apply this StoryBrand framework to a business. As mentioned, the most important insight is that the character is your ideal target guest or customer. This is the hero of your brand story. Well, your guest has a challenge or a need or maybe a desire that needs to be addressed. They meet you. They meet your business. Your brand and business come in here offering expertise and empathy. You give them a plan. You position your products and services as a solution, and then you call them to action. You clearly invite them to take that next step, and we highlight this, essentially the stakes. We can help them avoid failure and show how this negative outcome could be avoided in their life. And if they choose to move forward and ultimately purchase from you or come on a tour or trip with you, then we can paint the picture of the positive transformation your guest will experience. Remember, clarity is key. If your messaging is confusing, you will lose potential customers. One of the really nice things about this framework is that it simplifies what we're doing. Do you see how we can very quickly and clearly communicate what it is we do, whether that's in our elevator pitch, on our about page, our taglines, or explaining to potential customers or even partners or suppliers or the people that are in our lives. So as you're working on your brand positioning and your brand messaging, keep in mind that your ideal target guest should be the hero of that story. It's a very simple and succinct way to say, hey, we help these people with this particular problem, challenge, or desire. Here's how we do it, right? We give them that plan. We position our tours, activities, and experiences as the solution. To show how simple and elegant this can be, let's now use a real-world multi-day tour operator from our coaching program and show how this can help clarify their brand message. Meet Islamic Travel, a multi-day tour operator based in Australia that is run by 2 Muslim Australians, Hani and Yusuf. And as you can see from their homepage, they create fun, culturally immersive tours specifically for the Muslim traveler, and many of their customers are from Australia. So let's now apply the StoryBrand framework to this tour business so we can get clarity on our brand messaging. So who is the character? Well, they're ideal target guests. These are Australian Muslims looking for organized group travel experiences. These are people who want to explore the world while staying true to their faith and to their values. Well, do they have a problem? Well, actually they do, an external problem. It's difficulty finding organized travel options that align with Islamic values and needs. Do we have built-in time for prayer, for worship? Is the food halal, etc.? There's an internal problem, of course, too, feeling anxious about maintaining maybe their religious practices while traveling or potentially facing judgment or discrimination. So they meet a guide or mentor. Islamic travel positions themselves as go-to experts and authorities for Muslim travelers. They demonstrate both empathy and authority. We understand the challenges of finding Muslim-friendly travel options. They are an authority. They are both Australian Muslims themselves with years of experience organizing halal tours, and they know how to create the perfect Islamic travel experience. They offer them a plan. Islamic travel says, hey, choose from one of our curated Muslim-friendly destinations. We'll handle all the details from halal food to prayer facilities so you can enjoy a stress-free, spiritually enriching travel experience. Of course, there's going to be that call to action on their website. Hey, book your next adventure, prominently displayed. Hey, download a Muslim-friendly travel guide, maybe to capture leads. That's the clear call to action that comes through on their website. And what are the stakes? Well, it helps them avoid failure. What does failure look like? Well, hey, don't miss out on enriching travel experiences, right? Think of those that are maybe too afraid or nervous or anxious about getting out and seeing some of the most iconic places around the world, or potentially with success, embrace that Islamic heritage while exploring the world. You can create lasting memories with culturally immersive but faith-respecting travel experiences. So to bring this all together, your branding is really your business's identity. It's how you show up in the world and communicate with other people. And that marketing is, of course, the strategies we use to amplify, promote, and get the word out. So in terms of next steps, of course, it's going to make sense for you to create a brand guideline document or a brand kit. If you already have one, then great. If not, then you know you got to go through each of those 5 elements. And you might be in a situation where you could revisit and maybe add some additional details. I would also encourage you to apply the StoryBrand framework to your own business and to your own ideal target guests. Add this directly into your brand guidelines. For more resources, more training, and to dive deeper into that StoryBrand framework, simply search StoryBrand or Donald Miller online. He has a tremendous amount of free resources. There's books and there's courses. But hopefully you saw this simplicity of establishing your ideal target guest as the hero of your brand story and the hero of your brand messaging. Before you go, I'd love to hear from you. What was your biggest takeaway from this focused discussion on branding and StoryBrand? Is there anything that you are going to add to your brand kit or any insights that you want to share with our community? Thank you so much for being here. And if you found this video clarifying or helpful in any way, it would mean the world to me if you would share it with somebody else. It really helps us get the word out about the training that we're doing and these free videos. As always, our team of tour business coaches each have their own specialties, backgrounds, and experience. And a handful of our coaches are absolute wizards with branding. If you'd love to speak to one of our coaches about how you can build a stronger brand story or how you could really shine across your marketing strategies, we'd love to help. You can go to guestfocus.com/book a call for a free 45-minute session with one of our coaches. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you in the next video.